Because we're trying to drip.
Welcome to the Oregon Ducks Live on the Voice of College Football. I'm Bjorn Bergstrom.
I'm Brody Gobler.
I'm Brendan Everly.
All right, on this episode, we're going to be kind of breaking down what's going on this weekend in college football, and then it's our big awards show. So we're pretty excited about that. We're going to be breaking down a bunch of awards, each giving our take and kind of debating off those. So ready to get into it, guys?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Alrighty, so first things first, we'll touch on the Sherrone Moore news. Obviously, that's the biggest thing in college football right now, and we're a college football podcast, so might as well touch on it. So he came out. This is all allegedly, I guess we have to say, but he'd been cheating on his wife, having an affair with the staffer, and then he was quickly arrested, detained. He was in court today for assault and breaking and entering. So pretty wild situation. He's obviously out as the Michigan coach. So that's one of the biggest openings in the country. What's your guys' take on that?
Well, it's kind of like I think it was Mike, the old Celtics coach before Joe Mazzulla. He had that thing with the staff member.
Udoka.
Yeah. So kind of reminded me of that situation. It's just like, just keeps getting worse the more news that comes out. And obviously that it impacts Oregon a lot because Michigan's a Big Ten team and they're the winningest program in history. So it's obviously an attractive job offer, even if they are a little brother to Ohio State, but that's okay. So I think one of the number one coaches in the search right now is Dilly. And I wouldn't like that as a Duck fan because I want to keep him out of our conference if possible because I think Dilly would be a home run hire. I kind of liked that they had Sherrone Moore because I feel like their upside was kind of limited with him, and he was a fine coach, but he wasn't Harbaugh. He's not like Mike McDonald or like any of those other like that tree type of people. Like Sherrone Moore was fine, but I think they can definitely hit it out the park with a different coach. So hopefully they botch the hire. That's my hope as an Oregon fan.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's kind of what I was gonna say. Like the more you read about it, the crazier it gets. There's all sorts of stuff. I mean, if you look it up on social media, it gets wild. But something else that's like kind of crazy that's like interesting with that is the whole Bryce Underwood stuff. Apparently, his agents are like being they're a really big part of the job search because he actually doesn't have a buyout in his contract with Michigan, and so he can just like. He'll have to decide whether or not he wants to leave and all that kind of stuff. So they're gonna have to keep a close eye on that. Like if you're, if you're looking for a quarterback, Bryce Underwood probably going to be one of the top guys in the portal, if not the top guy in the portal, just because of his age. I mean, he didn't have a great season, but he's got a lot of talent, and so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens at Michigan. It's gonna be a crazy portal cycle.
Yeah. As you said, like Brody, you talked about the head coaching like kind of candidates. What I've been hearing is that they're going after like whoever, like guys who are under contract, like Kalen DeBoer, Dillingham. It's not just NFL guys or guys that are on the market. They're viewing this as this is the biggest job in college football, and they're going to go after every big fish that's out there. And
Jedfish.
I mean, potentially, I guess. I think that'd be a little bit. I don't know. He's not quite their standards, but possible.
I mean, Sherrone Moore wasn't much
that's
better.
true.
I mean,
that's true.
Like,
but obviously the biggest the first thing that the coach got to do is lock down Bryce Underwood because that's if you don't have him. I mean, we've seen the lack of success for the Wolverine quarterbacks over the years, and getting Underwood there is huge. Obviously, he wasn't awesome this year, but he's super talented, big frame. He's got a bright future. So that program, I mean, they got a lot of talent on the roster, but obviously a lot of turmoil. Everything is allegedly. We still waiting for a lot of stuff to come out. Still haven't heard Sharon Moore's side of it, though it is all pinned against him, which not a good situation.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to come out
Yeah, what?
with his side of everything.
Oh,
so.
yeah. We'll see what happens with that. But anyways, moving forward, we got a couple of games this weekend. We're not going to break them down, just explain them. So there's the Celebration Bowl, South Carolina State and Prairie View A&M tomorrow at 9 a.m. And then the LA Bowl between the Washington Huskies and the Boise State Broncos. And then our Army Navy is at noon. That's probably the biggest one on the slate. But
yeah,
it's
no, I'll be tuned into South Carolina State Prairie View because we're good friends with the kicker for South Carolina State. So
really?
Yeah.
Root for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and it's a much bigger game than any game UW gets into. I think the LA Bowl is a little generous for the type of season they had. I thought they should have, pulled out like Notre Dame, but that's okay.
Yeah, so if you guys want to get into the end of season awards, we can do that. So we're going to start with our best freshman. I can start this off. I would go. So I think there's a lot of guys on the board for this. Jordan Davison, De'Aaron Hill, Brandon Finney defensively. I would lean towards Jordan Davison. And I think my argument for that is not only in his role with the Ducks this year, but him as a player overall. I think in the Big Ten, he would start and be the number one guy for probably 13 or 14 of the teams. And I think it's just because Noah Whittington and De'Aaron Hill are both in this backfield that he has under 600 yards, but obviously those 13 rush touchdowns. He's the best short yardage back in the nation. I think there's no holes in his game. He's shown that in between the 20s, he can run over people, run away from people. He's not just resigned to this short yardage back, even though that's what they need him for. And that's what the role that he's filled.
Yeah, I think that's a very good pick. I think Davidson has the argument to definitely be the most talented freshman that we have. I thought, if his role was a little bit bigger, and I think it should absolutely have been bigger throughout the season, then I probably would have picked him. Dak Moore, also a great candidate. Obviously, De'Aaron Hill mentioned. You could even throw Gavin Nix in the conversation for it. But I went with Finney. I thought just the impact that Finney had on our DB room, being the solidified DB1 the entire season, and Davidson, kind of split work with De'Aaron Hill and Whittington, kind of gave Finney this award for me. So I went with Brandon Finney.
You guys are leaving me with a really tough decision here because those are my two guys. Like I put down two guys and I was going to decide on the spot, but I was going to make sure that they both got their praise. Davidson's been phenomenal all year, and I think with the way Brady just said it, I'm going to go with Finney. So Finney's going to win it 2-1. The reason why I'm taking Finney is just because he's been phenomenal. Like he's our number one corner, which is a really important position, and Davison has been phenomenal. And Bjorn's right. He would start on pretty much all the teams in the Big Ten, and be the main running back and produce a ton of yards. But for that reason, I think that's why Finney's my pick. Is just Finney's just been so valuable to the point where we are not a very complete football team without him. And whereas if we don't have Davison on our team, yes, it's a huge loss, but you can just lean on more of Whittington, more of De'Aaron Hill. I mean, you have a lot of other guys, but I'm going to take Finney.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So my argument was better. That's what he was saying, Bjorn.
I think he's just saying that Finney's a better player, but
I don't know. I think they're both they're both really talented. I would say they're both one of the best at their position.
I think Finney's had overall a better season. I just think Davison is the more talented player, and if you take him out of this offense, he would thrive more than Finney in just a regular Big Ten defense. But
yeah, I think I would agree with that. I just think
both great players.
Yeah, I just think Finney, better season, had more of an impact on our wins and losses. Had that pick six against Indiana. Hopefully does that again. Huge. Continues to show up. So, slight edge.
Very true. All right, our next award will be the best transfer. So guys on the board are Dylan Thieneman, Bear Alexander, Malik Benson, And then the tackles, Isaiah World, Alex Harkey, guard Emmanuel Pregnon, and then defensively joining Thieneman in the secondary is Jaden Kennedy. It's a lot of great transfers. I would go with Thieneman. I think that his versatility on defense has really opened up like everything for Tosh Lupoi's defense. It's helped everybody. He steps up in the run game. I think the linebackers outside of Bryce Betcher have kind of been lacking, but Thieneman's picked up the slack in that area. And then he's also just super rangy on the back end. Has a couple picks this year. So, and the game winner against Penn State, that one was one of the best plays of the year. So I'd go with Dylan Thieneman.
I didn't want any duplicates in my list, so I passed up on Thieneman here. I think Canada has a great case. Has really played himself into a mid-round NFL draft pick, potentially even higher. I haven't really seen much on his draft stock, but he's been phenomenal. World a little bit underwhelming from what I thought he was going to do, but I went with Emmanuel Pregnon for my best transfer. He came in not allowing a single sack. One of the best pass blockers, regardless of position in the country, and his run blocking has really just been pretty dominant this entire season. I feel like anytime we run behind him, World, and Poncho, it's been a successful play, especially with Davison and his vision and ability. I think he's just the most talented and has had a super big impact on our offensive line. And I got to shout out my guards, my offensive linemen when I can. So I won't break on.
There we go.
Gosh, you guys, I'd hate going third, man. You guys are leaving with my 2 picks.
We'll let you go first next one.
No. It's cool. I like having the tough decisions. I mean, Brady touched on all the great points. I mean, to be honest with you, I had both Pregnon and Thieneman. Something else that I want to note that we didn't touch on is Teron Johnson from Northwestern. He's played a lot of defensive back for us, and he's been phenomenal in coverage. He's played great, and he's been a great kind of, older guy in the defensive back room. So I wanted to give him some love. But when it comes to it, like Brady touched on all the right points, and so did Bjorn with Dylan Thieneman. But I'm gonna take Dylan Thieneman for one reason and one reason only. And that's because I just sat right next to him while I was taking my final 2 days ago. So that's why I'm taking Dylan Thieneman.
There we go.
He's also in my marketing class, which I just sat next to Bjorn with in my final. So
oh
yeah.
Much bigger name than Thieneman, Bjorn Bergstrom. So
yeah,
very true. Oh yeah, I love it.
But no, they both great players. I would have taken Pregnon. Like honestly, he's been just so impactful. And I mean, World has been a little underwhelming, but he's still been phenomenal. I mean, never really see him like allow any sort of pass rush or anything. Like he's just a beast. He's just a beast.
Yeah.
All right, so our next one will be our most underwhelming player. So a bit of a different note. Brendan, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who's your most underwhelming player?
Okay. Well, I mean, there's kind of an obvious one with Mekhi Hughes. He's by far the most obvious pick. But someone else I want to I guess this isn't really a shout out, but mention is Jurian Dickey. We had a lot of high hopes for him, and he kind of just never panned out.
So quick aside on Dickey. So during media day, he had a interesting quote. He was talking about having a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, plan F. Like he just went all down the list, and he was like, E and F are not related to football. It just did not seem like he was fully ingrained in the program. Didn't seem like he really wanted to be there. So it was totally not a surprise to see him leave or get booted, I guess.
Yeah, no, which is unfortunate because he really like has the talent and the skill set. He just couldn't seem to put it together. So I mean, I wish the best of him. I mean, I follow him a little bit. He's been kind of tearing up his JUCO league down in California. Yep. But I would say that's probably our biggest. I mean, you want to say Mekhi Hughes, but like realistically, he still would have played a role on this team if it hadn't been for how good Davison and Whittington and Dear Hill were. Like, let's be honest here. Like, there's a 100% a world where Mekhi Hughes was our RB2 if we never had Davison or Mekhi Hughes. It's just he wasn't going to play behind 2 freshmen, and at that point, at that point, what's the point? You just got a red shirt, find another team, whatever. I would assume that that's what he's going to do. He hasn't announced it yet, so he's ring chasing. He's ring chasing, which I respect that. But with Dickey, Dan's done a great job in the portal and in recruiting, and just feels like that was a big miss, which is kind of weird to see. Doesn't happen, and it was really unfortunate because he was supposed to be our first big receiver out of Oregon. The next AJ Brown was what we had hopes for, but he kind of just never panned out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Dickey is insanely talented. From what I heard, is he had a little bit of a mental issue?
Just a little bit, yeah.
A little bit. So I think that's a great shout, Brendan. I think another guy you could throw their hat in the ring. I think he's been injured quite a bit, but I really thought Kyle Casper was going to play a bit more of a role with Eastu being out. I really thought like we needed that guy on the outside that could win 50-50 balls, and he's 6'6" frame. He's a good athlete. I thought he was going to step up, or him or Dickey were going to step up in that role whilst Eastu was out, and neither one of them did. But I also put Mekhi Hughes as the most underwhelming player. He was hyped up to be the second or third best back in the country behind Katron and Singleton. And
Jeremiah Love.
Obviously, he wasn't even a top 3 back on our roster. So that was really disappointing. I still think he is a talented player. We had our quarrels with him coming in, a little bit of a lack of burst. And I just think that the contact balance and burst that Dr. Hill and Davidson and Whittington have just ultimately made them get more touches and play time over Hughes. So, yeah, I mean, I would be fine if he ended up staying. I don't think he will. But that 3-headed monster, if he can just develop, that strength and conditioning with this program, like if you want to be the best, you got to compete with the best. So if he wants to go to the league, then stay or compete.
You got to find a way on the field at Oregon.
League.
Well, and another thing is Whittington is gone. So, I mean, kind of Bjorn, like, you bring up a good point. You got to compete with your guys, find your way on the field. And with, losing our bell cow, he's our starting running back. And Whittington, like, there's going to be a spot open for him. It's just up to him if he wants to stay and compete.
Yeah, especially with the likes of Jay Harris. So he's got to watch out.
Very true. That could also be a transfer portal target for another guy. So for this one, so Dickey and Hughes are on the board. I would say, so I took this as a little bit more guys who've been on the field but just haven't performed as well. Maybe they haven't been benched per se, but they just haven't performed to like their level or what the team has needed. So I would go with, it's kind of a combination of 2 guys. It'd be Jerry Mixon and Devin Jackson. The guys around Betcher at linebacker, they just haven't stepped up in the way that I thought they would. It's really been Betcher. He's got 100 total tackles, and then Thieneman has really picked up the slack there, like I said. And those guys just, I mean, next year is a big year for them as well. And whoever steps in as the DC will really, really need them to step up as well. So I think those guys are underwhelmed.
Yeah, I actually like that. I think Mixon has played better. If I were you, I would have picked Devin Jackson just because he's pretty hyped up. Like, really excited for him this year. I mean, I was hyped for him. I was excited for him last year to play a real big impact role, and he just kind of never did. I mean, it feels like it's another Justin Jacobs situation. I don't know if you guys remember who he was, but he was an Iowa transfer from a year ago, and he just didn't perform. He was one of the best middle linebackers in the Big Ten, and then he came to Oregon and he was injured, but it just didn't really pan out. And I kind of feel the same way with Jackson. Like, I just wish he would really step up and take that role. But I mean, with Mixon, he's a younger guy and he's had to develop, but I think there's been spurts of him being a good player, which I think is just, that's a little bit better than what Devin Jackson has provided, I feel like. But
yeah, Mixon had 14 tackles against Iowa, and that was a really physical game. But I think he just doesn't move well against faster teams. He doesn't move well in coverage, especially. He's great, like right at the line of scrimmage, but obviously Betcher has lapped him in tackles, and Betcher's around the same spot.
Let's be honest.
Betcher's different, but
but there's no Big Ten linebackers that are covering anybody. I mean,
you're right.
If you watch the Big Ten, it's just who can fill the run holes better, and that's just all it is. I mean, it's not like linebacker is one of those positions where it's like, there's just not a ton of, I feel like, talent at the position, and so you really want to see one of our guys step up and fill that role.
Yeah, no doubt. So our next one will be most surprising player. Brody, I'll throw it to you for this one.
Yeah. I'm a big Oregon homer, so I believe in all our guys till they get on the field. But there was one guy that I was absolutely hating on preseason. I thought he wasn't even going to be in our top 6 to 7 receivers. And I picked Malik Benson. I could make a good argument for Canada. He's been an absolute stud, one of the best players on our defense. But I still went with Benson, just coming up big consistently in the Washington game, in the Iowa game. He really surprised me. And coming in, I knew he didn't have hands. He failed at Florida State and Alabama, I believe. And he just didn't show up, didn't produce. And I thought he was just going to fall down the depth chart and we were never going to hear about him. And he was the only transfer that I was like, I don't see a path for him to get on the field or start or do anything or be productive. And he's one of my favorite players on the team right now. So just for me personally, while Canada might be a better player, Benson surprised me the most out of everyone.
Yeah, I also went with Malik Benson. Just the way he stepped up with the injuries. I definitely didn't see him leading the Ducks in receiving yards over that against Washington. And so, I mean, that play against Washington was one of the biggest of the year as well. So he's just, the way he stepped up, definitely didn't see it. He was started the season as our like 4th or 5th guy on the depth chart, and he was number 1 behind. I'm behind Sadiq, but number 1 last month.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. I mean, for me, like, this is a difficult one. I would say with Kennedy, like, I wouldn't have. He's not even on my like pick on my list, just because I knew he was a pretty good player coming in from Ole Miss. Like, I knew he was going to have an impact on this team, and he's lived up to my expectations. I think he's played great. He's exceeded them, which is good. But I wouldn't say he surprised me. Jamari Johnson is another guy that might be thrown in the ring just because he wasn't super talked about as a transfer guy, but he's been phenomenal this year. But my pick is Malik Benson for all the same reasons. I mean, he's a former JUCO guy. He was the number one wide receiver out of JUCO, and he just kind of struggled quite a bit at Alabama, and then Florida State just didn't work out, and then came here and he's been balling out.
True. All right, for the next one, I think I'm interested if we're in agreement here. So it's the best position group. I went with the running backs. What did you guys go with?
I did not go with the running backs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I thought DBs had a really strong case. I thought our D-line also had a very strong case. Bear coming back now, so that's huge news. Potential second round was getting some second round buzz. Mateo has been getting first round buzz. Tuioti, third round. And then obviously Amari is getting some first round buzz too. So just like from a pure talent standpoint, I thought that D-line could be in consideration. You could also, throw in quarterback. Dante Moore could be one of the best players on the team. And you got Brock Thomas backing him up. So I did consider that as well. But I actually ended up going with the offensive line. I think that just the depth that we showed in USC, down to our 3rd and 4th tackle, Pragon, World, Poncho, 3 guys that have gotten at least mentioned in first-round conversations before, and Harkey probably going to get drafted. I just thought, like, the resilience we showed throughout the year in the production, all our running backs have been able to get. I've been really impressed with our O-line this year, so I went with O-line.
Yeah, I like that, Brody. That's not where I went. I went with running back as well. It's just, just so phenomenal. Like, I think Whittington, Davison, and Dier would start on any team in the country. There's not a team that you can, besides Penn State. Like, there's not, and Notre Dame. Those are the only 2 teams. There's nobody else in the country, I think, where they wouldn't start. And I mean, honestly, same thing with the O-line. Like, I don't think there's anywhere in the country where like our full O-line unit is not going to start over the other team's full O-line unit. So that's a good pick, but I think running back has just been phenomenal.
I would have gone with the O-line if they hadn't given up 6 sacks against Indiana. And there are a couple that were on Dante Moore. They just didn't see it. And then there were a couple of sim pressures that they didn't pick up well, that it didn't look like they were prepared, which makes you think, is that coaching? Is that actually them? Which I mean, the rest of the other 11 games, they were nails. So I think that's a good pick there. I think those are the two, along with the secondary is close behind. But yeah, the running back talent is just insane. And with 2 true freshmen there, they're just different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a deeper RB room in the country, and like Brendan said, like we have the top end talent too. I just like the fact that I don't know. I think both are very good picks. I think RB's probably edge it out, but I just wanted to give some love to the big boys. So
true.
I appreciate that. Like that
all 4 running backs, Jaden Lamar included, like they had their they peaked at some point this season. De'Aaron Hill against Penn State, Jaden Lamar against Penn State as well. He played a lot of snaps in that game. Davison's had multiple 3 touchdown games, and Whittington has just done his thing. Rutgers was his big game, but I mean he went over 100 in multiple other games too. So, but that's all thanks to the O-line as well. They're opening up the holes. I think the Ducks have one of the best yardage before contact marks in the nation, and that's directly related to the O-line. So
yeah, and they're up for their 3rd straight offensive line Joe Moore Award. So that's a huge testament to just our program as a whole. I feel like we've had good O-lines for the last at least 10 years or something. It's felt like that, with Sewell, and it's been a good time.
Even guys like Tyrell Crosby and JPJ in the league Bass, now, like TJ Bass, like it just feels like our program does a good job with the offensive line.
Get me fired up with TJ Bass.
All right, so our next one will be best play of the season, and this is kind of a subjective the way you take the word best, like most impactful or most amazing play. I would go with Benson's touchdown against Washington. I think just that situation where it really sent the Ducks to the CFP, gave them the home game, put the game away late, like kind of mid 4th quarter, and that was just crossing a dig in the middle of the field, caught it. Didn't look like he was going to score right when he caught it, and then he just like burst through defenders and ran it all the way in 64 yards. I think that was it for me. Brendan, what do you think?
I mean, that's a great one. I think it would have been very easily, in my opinion, Brandon Finney's pick 6 if we won that game, but we didn't. So I'm going to take Dylan Thiman's interception against Penn State. I think that yes, Penn State is what they are now, but they were a good team before that, and like that sealed a big game. Like that was ball game. It was electric. The call was electric. The vibes were electric. Like Eugene, Oregon was about ready to burn down when that happened. Like that was a big time situation. So I'm going with that one.
Oh, gosh, I had another play, but Brendan might convince me because honestly, that Thieneman interception, that was probably my, besides storming the field against Ohio State, that might have been my favorite memory in college, period. I just want to give shout outs to a couple other plays. Dak Moore, absolutely pancaking that guy. That one got me fired up.
Week 1. That was a good one.
Yeah. That hook and ladder that Bjorn loves so much, the screen hook and ladder on 3rd and 27.
God.
That one cracks me up. Noah Whittington just continually pushing forward with 20 dudes on him and still scoring a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. That one was good. That was a good one.
Yeah, just insane. And then just multiple Sadiq touchdowns. You can put almost any Sadiq touchdown. I don't think anyone would go twice, just diving for absolutely no reason. So
he did it every time.
his whole Minnesota game. I mean, that was just a highlight reel tape.
Oh yeah, unbelievable. Gosh, I was gonna go Dante to Benson at Iowa because I if we lose that game, I don't know if we make the playoff season.
Honestly,
that was one of the greatest throws I've ever seen. Pouring rain, absolute seed to Malik Benson. One of the best throws I've ever seen in my entire life, and a fantastic catch. In a clutch time situation, needed to have it. But it is one of my favorite college memories. So, Brendan, you convinced me. I changed my pick. I'm going to go Dylan Thieneman, Penn State interception.
Yeah, dude, that one was so fire.
Gosh.
Yeah, the stakes of that are just as high as about any other game. I mean, looking at that game, what it turned into, if they lost that and then I don't think if Penn State loses that, they go on the 6-game losing streak or wins it, they go on it. But,
no.
I mean, they clearly
right where we are in
playoff
contention for sure.
was a huge play, regardless of Penn State being 6-6 and what it turned out to be. So our next one will be best coach. Brody, if you want to lead the way with this one, you know a lot about coaching.
That is true. I mean, we have some absolutely fantastic coaches on this staff. I mean, Stein's one of the best coordinators in the country. Samples is one of the best up-and-coming minds. Lupoy's fantastic. Like, we have a lot of talented coaches that are great recruiters and great players. But, I mean, I'm going with the one that brought them all together and also made sure that with both coordinators leaving, we kept every single commit on signing day. I'm going with Dan the Man. I mean, just consistently doing an onside kick against Wisconsin first play, just stuff like that. I just think Lanning and just the way he prepares the team and makes sure this team's ready to go no matter what. And you see it on Ducks versus them. Everyone is so bought into this culture, and to the point where they're not even leaving when both coordinators leave because they believe in Dan that much. I think he's one of the top 3 coaches in the country. I wouldn't trade him for anyone, honestly. So, I'm going Dan.
Do you want to go second, or do you want me to go?
But I want to ask Brody this. So, who are your top 3 coaches then? So, I'm guessing Cignetti's in there.
I would go. I would definitely. I mean, I would go Kirby 1. I guess Cignetti and Dan are 2A, 2B. It just depends on kind of what you're looking for. But from a pure coaching X's and O's standpoint, or just
I don't know, man.
Where to go, I probably would lean Cignetti. But as far as building a program and recruiting and just everything that goes into being a coach and being a CEO, I would put Lanning at 2 pretty easily. And I think I wouldn't trade Lanning for Kirby though. I think Lanning,
I'm saying I would say Dan's the best. I mean, you have to realize being a coach doesn't just mean you have good schemes. It's not just X's and O's. It's being able to also get the Jimmies and Joes. The fact Cignetti's listen, he's a phenomenal coach, but he's not a great recruiter. At least he hasn't shown anything to that level yet. Dan is a top 3 recruiter in the country. I would say he's the best. I mean, the fact that we every single year are putting up a top 3 class and every year that he's been here with only 20 guys every class. We're not bringing in 45 guys USC to have the top class. So the fact that he's one of the best recruiters, also just you watch an Oregon Ducks football game, it's exciting. There is stuff going on. Like you mentioned, the onside kicks, he's a good coach also with the X's and O's, but also he just knows how to build a culture. And that is something that Kirby Smart lacks in. There is no culture at a place like Georgia. Georgia struggles with that. Now, listen, Kirby Smart's a great coach and he's a great recruiter, but I think Dan is the only guy in the country with all 3. And he's young. Guys buy in. I mean, if you look what Bear Alexander said about coming back, everybody used to make fun of Bear Alexander because he's always transferring, but he has bought into the program and he believes what's going to happen. Every single year, you're going to see guys going in the first round out of Oregon just because of Dan Lanning and the culture that he builds. He builds guys that you want in your locker room. And I mean, even just look at Dylan Gabriel last year. He doesn't have any he's not a phenomenal quarterback, but he went in the 3rd round. It's kind of that kind of stuff that Dan is doing, which I just don't. I think just being a Georgia football player, you have that, just because you went to play at Georgia, not because of your coach.
Yeah, that's all good points. I think you hit it right on the head with Kirby Smart's culture. There is no culture at Georgia. Those guys, there's been multiple arrests in the last 3 years, more than multiple. I mean, but anyways, I think
yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Brody, what you said about building a program, that's exactly what Cignetti's done, though. He built it from the ground up. Indiana.
Well, I meant as far as recruiting. I didn't mean
I get
that
you.
type. I meant I meant recruiting when I was saying that. I will say with Dan, the Jimmys and Joes part, Brennan, it goes with coordinators too. And Dan's one of the best at spotting talent, whether it's coordinators or players in the country. I said, I wouldn't trade for Kirby, and I will be saying he's the best coach in the country if and when we win a natty. But until he wins the national championship, I got to keep Kirby at least ahead of him. And I think DeBoer is in those conversations. There's a couple other guys that you can talk about just because they have his number, but I do think Marcus
Freeman, yeah.
Marcus
I like
Freeman,
that.
Yeah.
even though there's a lot of controversy with Notre Dame right now, Marcus Freeman's still a phenomenal coach. I do like him. I mean, you can
Yeah,
even say
and
Ryan Day,
But Dan would never ever pull out of a bowl game. I don't give a
no.
if he thinks
No.
he got snubbed. I think Dan, like I said, I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the entire country. But just trying to be a little bit objective. I feel
Why
like
not
he has
Ryan
to win
Day?
Natty until
Ryan Day.
Let's move on.
Nope. Okay. Well, I would to put a cap on best coach. I would also say Lanning. And I mean, Brody hit it on the head with the Ducks versus them. If you don't watch that, you're missing out on so much of what goes on behind the scenes of how he motivates the team. He's just like the best. I don't know how there's another like a better motivator in college football, in football period. Like this guy knows exactly how to get his team motivated. Any small slight, like he catches it, tells his team, flips it right into the game plan, and like guys just come out firing every week. It's pretty impressive. So clean sweep there.
No, I haven't said my pick.
Oh, you haven't said your pick? Okay.
Listen, Dan is the guy, and I would love to take Dan, but that's too easy. If we're looking at like just a phenomenal coaching job, I'm gonna go with Chris Hampton and the DB room. That's a very young DB room, a lot of transfers, and for that to be one of our best like situations is, I mean, that's just a phenomenal coaching job. I mean, we have a redshirt freshman and a true freshman, and Iffy and Finney, and those are two of our guys. And then with Thyman being a transfer, Kennedy being a transfer, Teron Johnson being a transfer. I mean, these are all guys that have never played together before, and yet you're making that unit just mesh. Like, all these guys are getting playing time, and they're all playing at a very high level. Like, that is something that is not talked about much and needs to be, because he has done a phenomenal job. Like that is hard to do, and that right there makes you a good coach.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point, Brendan, and that's probably number two. Just like you said, the youth, just like getting all those guys all come together. But I will counter that point with we lost, was it 18 starters this year, and Lanning
it was 18
has got
starters,
us
4
11-1.
By
the way, is not a top 12 coach in Coach of the Year voting, by the way. Insane. The biggest robbery I've ever seen in my entire life. Signetti should win, absolutely, sure. But the fact that Dan's not top 3 after losing 18 starters, like, are you serious? Being the number one team in the country and losing 18 starters, and then come back and you're 11-1? Like, okay.
No, Brady, I agree with you. I mean, I just said he's the best coach in the country, but I was being like objective if we're looking at over the season, like, you know, who has had a major impact. Obviously, all of these defensive backs are buying into Dan Lanning's program and Dan Lanning's idea and culture, you know, and he recruited them. But you get what I'm saying, like,
oh yeah,
purely
it
coaching,
is really
not like running a program.
Yeah, it's a great pick.
All right, so not a clean sweep, though. Brendan is very high on Lanning, as you can see. So we'll get into the big three here. These are our last three. Offensive Player of the Year. I can kick this one off. I took this as kind of how the NFL does it, with MVP going to. I don't want to spoil my pick, but it's a quarterback.
I think we should get MVP
award
out of the way. I'm gonna be honest. I think
okay,
MVP
we can do MVP.
Kind of
I'd say Dante Moore. I think with his.
Yeah, me too.
It's not just his counting stats. I think it's his resilience, his leadership, his composure. It's just how he looked at UCLA. This is worlds different. And like just his ability to lead the team into these tough games, especially this last month. It's really shown me so much about his resilience, coming back, being hurt, breaking his nose, the tough Iowa game, getting all those wins. So I would go with Dante.
Me too. For all the same reasons.
Yeah, I did go Dante. Had a little bit of debate in my head whether or not to put Brock Thomas. I'm just joking. Obviously, it's Dante. Led the team, came up clutch when it mattered the most. Dante Moore is phenomenal, and he absolutely deserves to go top 3 in the NFL draft.
If he declares. But, yeah, that's another thing we can talk about at a later date. So
some buzz. There's some real positive buzz if you're a Duck fan.
Yeah. So Offensive Player of the Year. So with Dante Moore kind of out of the running for this, there's a lot of guys you could say. Pregnon obviously had a great year. Poncho has had a great year, though. running back, anybody in the running back room, Benson. But I would go with I think this is an obvious choice. I think it's Kenyon Sadiq. He's the leader in receiving yards, receptions, touchdowns. He's just been the driver of the offense. Dante's number one target, the number one guy on the game plan to get involved. He's just an absolute freak with the ball in his hands, hurdling, running over guys. He's so versatile. You can line him up outside, line him up as a blocker. He's a great blocker as well. So I think he just has a complete package as a tight end.
Yeah, I also went with Kenyon Sadiq. I thought it was also fairly obvious, just the versatility he brings to the offense, lining him out wide, lining up in the slot, being one of the best run blockers, if not the best run blocking tight end in the country. He's going to be a top 15 pick in the NFL draft. I have no doubt about it. Someone's going to trade up and have to get him. It's going to be another Tyler Warren, Bowers, like Pitts situation. Like he's even more complete than Pitts was coming out. He's 2 inches shorter. But other than that, also shout out Kyle Pitts for ruining my fantasy season. But Kenyon Sadiq, just there's nothing he can't do in the offense. He just opens up the offense so much. So I went with him for Offensive Player of the Year as well.
Yeah, I also took Sadiq the Freak. I mean, it's in his name, Sadiq the Freak. Nothing else needs to be said.
Yeah, he's unstoppable, and I think the nation is really gonna wake up to what he's been this season with the Ducks on national TV in the playoff, because he's gonna be target number one for Dante. No matter who comes back, it's gonna be Sadiq getting those targets too. So, all right, Defensive Player of the Year. Brendan, you want to take this one?
Yeah, this was a difficult one for me because I felt like there was so much impact. But I already gave Dylan Thieneman an award. We've already talked plenty about Kennedy today. Betcher, I'm sure you guys know my opinions on him. Like, I think he's good, but I'm taking Tatum Tuioti. I think what he's done this year is phenomenal. He's played himself into potentially a first 3-round pick, and he's been great. He's been nails on defense. Like, he's Mr. Reliable. I mean, he's been getting the job done as, run stopper, in every down back, like an every down type of guy. Like, he can pass rush. Like, he does it all. And I think he's been our Defensive Player of the Year, and Dan loves his versatility, and Tatum Tuioti is perfect.
Yeah, I think Tatum's definitely a good one to talk about for that. I think Finney probably would have ran away with this award had he not gotten absolutely exposed at USC a little bit. And I think Amari Washington also definitely could have been in this conversation. He was an absolute freak those first couple of games, and he's just been getting double-teamed each and every game out there. But I think you guys already know who I'm picking because I didn't have him for best transfer. But I went with Thieneman, just his versatility and his ability to play both coverage and in the run. There's one other person in the entire country that can do that, and his name is Caleb Downs. And Caleb Downs is not nearly the safety blanket that Thieneman is as far as tackling. He is a better coverage guy. But Thieneman's just he's just been unbelievable this season. I've been so impressed with everything he's doing. He allowed us to completely change our scheme from last year and go more into the scheme that made Ohio State absolutely shut us down last year in the Rose Bowl. And I don't think he could be replaced very easily. So I went with Thieneman.
Interesting. So we got Tuioti and Thieneman. I think you guys left my number one pick on the board. I'd go with Bryce Betcher. I thought this was an easy pick. He's at 100 total tackles. Brendan, he doesn't. I
don't know what football games he's watching. He's got 100 tackles, but he's getting dragged for 50 yards a game. Like,
I get that. He doesn't have the stature of he's not going to be a high draft pick by any means. But he also doesn't have guys around him like we said. Mixon and especially Devin Jackson haven't stepped up. It's been a lot of Thieneman, so I respect that pick, Brody. But I think Betcher he's the heart and soul of this defense. He's like the definition of heart and soul. He's a leader, fifth-year senior. They live and die with Betcher. He's been the best player on defense, I think. No
way.
I think so.
I don't know. I think Betcher
flies around. He flies around.
Have you seen him in coverage? Have you seen him play coverage? Good God, he couldn't guard me in coverage.
He's not a coverage backer.
But again, you were just knocking on Jerry Mixon earlier for that same thing. Like Jerry Mixon fills the same
Jerry
role
Mixon's
that
not
Bettcher
good
does.
not good at run stop. He's a good run stopper, but he's not like, I don't know. He's not gonna be.
Listen,
anybody on the
Bettcher is
perimeter.
a fine run stopper, but he's not like elite. Like he's you never see Bettcher make the play in the hole, and it's like on fourth down. Like I've seen it 4 or 5 times this year. On like a fourth down, Bettcher's the one making contact, and it's a first down for the other team. And it's listen, I want Bettcher to be the guy, and he needs to be the guy in those situations where it's like, hey, Bettcher made a huge stop there. But I never once this year that I can recall was like Bettcher just made a great play, great stop. It's our ball now. It just never hasn't happened.
I think the stats speak for themselves, though. I mean, they're number 8 scoring defense, and it's not because like Bettcher's getting driven back. Like he's making these tackles, he's getting these guys down. They're not getting to the red zone. They have a terrible red zone rate, but they're not letting teams get to the red zone for a reason. I think it's just the value aspect. He's not the best player, obviously. I mean, there's first round guys at every position. He's not the best player by far, but I think he's the most valuable because of his leadership, because of all his tackles. He does fly around, in my opinion. But I don't know. We can agree to disagree.
Yes, this is a great point. But it's the same thing with Jeffrey Bassa. Like last year, like Jeffrey Bassa was like our heart and soul and our leader on defense, but he wasn't any good. Like there's a reason why I think he was undrafted. He was like a 7th round pick. Like
I thought he went 5th round to the Chiefs. I could be wrong though.
Maybe it might have been 5th round. It might have been 5th round. But again, like it's not like you're like, oh my God, Jeffrey Bassa is really changing this defense. I would argue that Dylan Theinman has been more impactful as a run stopper. Like, how are you getting outshined by a safety at the linebacker position where you're not even expected to be in coverage?
Okay, let me read you Bettcher's stats in the biggest games of the year. So Penn State, 13 tackles, Indiana, 11 tackles, Iowa, 8 tackles and a sack, USC, 13 tackles, Washington, 10 tackles.
Tatum
gets he shows up. He shows up in the biggest games. He plays his best, and I think that stands out for me.
Okay, but you got to remember, like a lot of tackles doesn't mean that you're like they're just forcing the play to you. Like
he's doing his job.
I would argue
he's doing his job to a high level.
Yes, he's making the tackle.
There's not a whole lot of guys with 100 tackles.
No, I agree. But you have to realize, like, that's also partially due to the fact we have Mateo Ugalele on the edge, who they're not going to run the ball to him. He's going to make the tackle. And Tatum Tuioti, who's been phenomenal this year. And then you got Amari Washington, Bear Alexander, and Gray up in the middle. Like, I just think that linebackers are our weakest position on our defense. And yes, he's our best linebacker, but that's not saying that much. Like,
I just think he carries that position. He carries a very heavy load at the linebacker at the second level.
He does, but
Well, I think this is also a great point. I think Mateo, we all would have expected to have won this award coming into this season. And he's definitely, the most NFL ready guy. But just we did not utilize Mateo at all. We were stunting him on the inside. We were letting Washington loop around the outside on T stunts. Like, just let Mateo eat. And I hope to God we do that in the playoffs. Bjorn, I cannot agree with you at all that Bettcher is the defensive player of the year. He has the best stats, absolutely. But when you actually I can understand the argument. I really can, because the linebackers are buns. But he's part of why the linebackers are buns, because linebackers, like when he gets in the hole, I don't think he has won in the hole a single time this year, and that's what you want out of your linebacker. Thieneman has met running backs in the hole, and I expect him to get dragged because he's a safety. But Bettcher is a linebacker. He's supposed to be a run stuffer, and he gets dragged for extra yards almost every play.
And the other thing is, he's a lot bigger.
I think if we had an elite linebacker, like if we had Arvell Reese, I don't know if anyone would have scored this entire year. You know what I mean? Like, he's been like, I don't know. Bettcher has been good. He flies around. He does his purpose. I think we've done a lot better job of hiding his weaknesses these last few weeks, and he has gone absolutely off. especially against UW. That was definitely, I think, his best game of the season.
But
Maybe
again,
he was hurt earlier in the
he
season,
missed 2
but
sacks that game. Like we can't deny that. Like he still missed 2 big plays. Like
Yeah, but they had 27 pressures and 4 sacks.
listen.
There were a lot
if you
of
want,
missed.
I'm not denying that. Like Mateo missed plenty. But if you're trying to say that the best player on defense was a guy who was not making plays and not executing at all times,
I'm not saying he's the best player. I'm going by the off defensive player of the year. I think that's not best defensive player of the year. I just think I'm going by value, I guess. I took that as the most valuable defensive player. He's the leader. He's the heart and soul of the defense. He's the guy who's telling everybody where to go. And that's not every middle linebacker does that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's fully true. I don't know if Betcher's doing that. Like it.
I don't know. I've seen Betcher come out the game because it's like, obvious passing down or because of X or Z. Thieneman will never ever leave the field unless he was hurt against UW. That's the only reason he will ever leave the field, because he is an elite coverage safety and is an elite tackler, and he changes our entire scheme on defense and helps us like run our defense how we want and to its highest potential. And I think that's so valuable that I just can't get behind Tuioti or Betcher, if I'm being completely honest. I think
but Tatum never left the field. Like that's the reason why I took Tatum is because he never left the field. He was there on third down. He was there on first down, second down, fourth down. Like Mateo, he came out of the game. He came out of the game for whatever reason on like second and third down plenty of times, but Tatum was in every single time. So
I also did pick Thieneman as my best transfer, so I didn't want to repeat, but I do stand by my argument that Betcher is the defensive player of the year, and I think he's going to have more of these tall, big tackling games in the playoff. I don't think that'll go away. Someone has, and I mean, Brendan, this kind of helps your argument, but someone has to make these tackles. And
that's
Betcher,
what I'm saying.
He puts himself in position too, though. I think.
No, he does.
Yes, he has a small stature, so he's going to get run through, but he does.
He's not that
put
small.
himself in position.
Yeah,
he's 6'2",
a lot of weight.
6'2", 230. That's not a huge backer.
No, that's true. That's true. If he was like 240, 250, but
yeah,
I'm not saying Betcher's bad. He's not a bad player. He's a phenomenal football player.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that, like, if you want your defensive player of the year, it's just got to be a little bit more exciting. Like someone that's like,
I don't know if I would say Tatum is exciting though.
Okay, but Tatum has done something. He's taken by far the biggest leap forward this year. Like
I think a lot of that's numbers, the attention to Mateo as well. He's getting a lot of one-on-ones.
I'm not denying that, but Tatum has been just so impactful. Like he's been making plays all year. There's never a game where he's not, coming with multiple, tackles in the backfield or sacks, whatever it is. Like he swats balls down at the line of scrimmage. Like it feels like every single game I'm like, oh, Tatum has made probably 2 or 3 great plays in that game. Whereas, I mean, you could say the same with Thieneman. I mean, if I had to pick, I would say he's the best player, but obviously I had to,
Yeah, I think Thieneman's the best.
Thieneman's an edge rusher, not a pass coverage guy.
Yeah. That's kind of what I went. Like, he was the best player on the defense, so I went with Thieneman. I do think, from a stats standpoint, Betcher is absolutely the best, and he has stepped up. Like, our linebackers have been terrible. I think he will end up playing in the NFL, and I think he will get drafted fine, fairly. Yeah. I think he'll get drafted. I do.
Yeah.
I think he's more talented and better than Bassa was, and like was mentioned earlier in the comments, Bassa is starting on the Chiefs right now. And just that leadership, like you want that in your linebacker. I think he will be a will at the next level if he ends up playing. I don't think he's going to be big enough to, be that true run stuffing Mike. But he might call plays. He might, do
I don't think Betcher calls plays on defense, though.
Isn't he the
I don't think he's the one.
I know.
I don't think I'm not gonna lie. Have you guys ever had a conversation with Bryce Betcher? Like,
okay,
I don't think he's the one calling defense.
You got a point there, but he's football smart. He's football smart. All these guys are football smart.
No, they have to be. They're Division I football players at one of the best teams in the country. Like, they gotta be. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that He's a bad player. Betcher's a great player. But I just wish he would have stepped up more. I would argue that I would put him as, as a guy that played. I would say he's
what is
pretty
stepping up
underwhelming.
more? What is stepping up more? 130 tackles?
No, I'm
It's not a stats
okay,
thing. That's not what we're saying.
Tackles
Okay,
are kind of an
alright.
empty stat. Like you can be a bad player and rack up a lot of tackles. Like
Are you talking about like tackle? Are you talking about tackles for a loss or just when he
I'm not
tackles
saying
guys
that. I'm
standing
saying
them
just
up?
genuine. Like it's the tackles that he's making. Like
Mhm.
again, he's getting dragged for yards every single time, and it's like you want to see like him make a big play. There was a few times also where he's like, he's had a big opportunity to make a nice interception, and it just falls through his hands. Like it happened early on in the year, happened like twice. I mean, he made the one play against Northwestern early on, which that was a great interception, but it feels like he hasn't done anything since, and it's just been like, he's been playing good. He's
been
making the
steady.
tackles that he needs
He's been
to
steady.
make.
I'll give you that. He hasn't been like amazing. He makes I think, like you said, Toyota makes a lot of great plays a game. I think Betcher makes a lot of good plays a game, and those good plays, I think, in my book, outweigh the couple great plays from Toyota. Though, I mean, this whole defense has been great, and you can take a lot of different guys here.
It feels like a quantity over quality situation.
Mm-hmm.
What are some good linebackers? Texas Tech linebackers. I mean, just the two best linebackers in the country.
Yeah,
Ben Roberts and the guy that should have been a Heisman candidate. Like, Indiana has phenomenal linebackers. Like, if you go look at the big, like
Aiden Fisher was awesome against Oregon.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like, you see those guys. Like, those guys genuinely impact the game. And linebacker is a hard position, right? But like those guys can play coverage, and like those guys genuinely like make their imprint on the game. Whereas it feels like, yes, Betcher is backing up all these tackles, but they're just empty tackles. Like they're going to him and he's making the play because the play has to be made by somebody, right? It's not our DBs are locking their guys down, so it's the QB stepping up and taking off for 2 yards and Betcher's touching him, and that's a tackle, right?
Who didn't make the play against Iowa against Gronowski? QB spy.
Well, yeah, but you put Tatum Tuioti. But again, that's my point right there. No. But that's my point. Is you put an edge. No, it was Tatum Tuioti.
I know. I said it should have been Thieneman. I don't know why we would ever put Tatum
anybody
as a
but
spy.
yeah.
But that's the thing is you put Tatum Tuioti as you play him at middle linebacker because you don't trust Bryce Betcher in the hole. Like that's what I'm talking about right there. No, they took him out because guess what? If they're meeting
it's bad
one-on-one
coaching
on the goal
both
line,
ways.
It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown for
Tuioti's going to get beat exactly how he did with speed, and Betcher would get beat with power. It's
exactly.
It should have been Thieneman.
It should have been Thieneman for sure. I don't know what they were doing, but what I'm saying is like that's the difference. Like you're taking out a top 10 linebacker in the country, on the biggest play of the game. Like I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just
think 5 wide though that causes some problems because they do not go 5 wide at all. So
everyone in the country knew Gronkowski was not throwing that ball.
No, they're not trusting him to throw the ball.
All I'm saying, my only argument is, who did you say should have been the QB spy? The guy that you want making the play with the game on the line.
No, I agree.
2 game-stealing interceptions, just making plays.
Brody, we both would have picked Thieneman, but we already picked him earlier.
Yeah.
Well, then don't pick him earlier. That's what I did. I decided,
he was our best transfer, though.
And then I'm going to pick Thieneman because he is the defensive player of the year. So,
all right, we just all had different logic here. I think.
I think I'm somewhere in the middle here.
Listen,
Bjorn's on the side of Betcher, and Brennan's all the way over there.
No, listen. Betcher's been great this year, but again, like you're telling me that there's nobody else in the country that could fulfill his role. I mean, like Justin Flo was a tackle machine when he was at Oregon, and he was no good. He was just like Betcher, like a smaller linebacker who could hit hard. And I mean, the first 3 games that we had,
the intangibles that Betcher has. Flo was just a head case. Betcher is far from it. He's a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, I can agree with that. But
I think I would favor Betcher a lot more in like a positive light if he was a Robin instead of a Batman. Like I think that's his role.
Yes.
And I think he's being asked to do a lot more than he is physically capable of. And I still think he is a very good player. But I think if he was in that Robin role, and we had someone like Noah Sewell, I think we'd be the best defense in the country. But it's just those other linebackers, Devin Jackson and freaking Jerry Mixon. It's just not good enough.
That does
he's asked
show how good
to do a lot,
Thielen is.
and there's a lot on his plate, and he has stepped up, and I don't think he is, as good as or as a defensive player of the year should be. That's why I couldn't go with him. But his stats have been phenomenal. He has stepped up, so I'm somewhere in the middle.
I'm gonna conclude my argument with Bjorn. I actually get where you're coming from because I agree. Stats wise, he's been great, and he's been our best linebacker, right? But I would say he's probably not even like a top 7 player on our defense. Which,
so let's count. So Thieneman, Tuioti,
Finney, Mateo Ugalele, Amari Washington. So I got 5 right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could throw Kennedy in there.
I would
say Canada or Canada. I would argue you could even argue Bear.
Bear Alexander, like Toronto. Like you see what I'm saying? Like, listen, he's like not even a top 5 player on our defense. And that is not a testament to like saying Betcher's bad. That's just showing how good our defense is. Mm-hmm. But I do genuinely get where you're coming from because linebacker is such a weak position in college football, and the fact that he's done a great job with what he's been given, and he's been put into a difficult situation. Like he has done a great job. Whereas I think Tatum Tuioti has been put in a good situation to succeed, with how great our defensive line is. But I also think like our defensive line has been just so good at like they forced Betcher to make the play, right? Like that's almost how it feels, right? Which I don't think that's Betcher's fault. And so I would agree. I mean, Betcher's been good. He's been good.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of guys you can pick from. So there's not
for sure.
I don't think there's a bad option on this. Like we named 7 guys who could potentially be drafted, which is just crazy for one defense. So I think we're through our award show. You guys got any other thoughts?
Yeah. Do you want to recap it for us, Bjorn? Our overall winners?
Yes. Is that? Yeah. So best freshman, we went. It was 2-1 Finney. Best transfer, Thieneman 2-1. Underwhelming player, Mekhi Hughes 2-1. Most surprising player, Malik Benson 3-0. Best position group, running backs 2-1. Best play, Dylan Thieneman's Penn State pick game ender. Brody got persuaded to pick that. Mm-hmm. Best coach, Lanning 2-1. Offensive player of the year, unanimous, Kenyon Sadiq. Defensive player of the year, we all chose 3 different ones: Thieneman, Betcher, Tuioti. And that just shows how great the defense is. And then MVP, we kind of skipped past the one real quick, but Dante Moore, unanimous. So, yeah. All right. It was a great show, fun show with you guys. Thank you guys for listening and watching to the Oregon Ducks Live on the Voice of College Football. Have a great night.